Today, I want to talk to you about a topic that resonates with every single one of us. It's something that we all have faced or will face at some point in our lives. It's the one thing that has the power to crush dreams, but also the potential to forge the strongest of characters. That topic is failure. Let's begin by acknowledging a simple yet profound truth. Failure is an inevitable part of life. No matter how much we prepare, plan, or hope for the best, we are bound to face failure at some point. The great Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." These words remind us that failure is not a sign of defeat, but a part of the process of discovery and growth. Think about the people you admire most, whether they are entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, or leaders. Behind every success story lies a trail of failures, setbacks, and challenges that these individuals had to overcome. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a critical component of it. But what exactly is failure? In a world that often equates success with perfection, failure is frequently misunderstood. Many of us have been conditioned to view failure as something shameful, something to be avoided at all costs. But I challenge you to redefine failure. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, consider it a detour, an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. Failure does not define you. Your response to failure does. It's not about how many times you fall, but about how many times you get back up, how you learn from those experiences, and how you use those lessons to move forward. Failure is not the end of the road, but rather a stepping stone on the journey to success. Allow me to share a story, one that you might already be familiar with, but that holds a timeless lesson about the power of perseverance in the face of failure. It's the story of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most revered presidents in American history. Before he ever stepped foot in the White House, Lincoln faced a series of failures that would have discouraged most people. He failed in business twice, was defeated in numerous elections, and even suffered a nervous breakdown. Yet, despite all these setbacks, Lincoln never gave up. He continued to persevere, and eventually, he was elected as the 16th President of the United States, leading the country through its most challenging period, the Civil War. Lincoln's story teaches us that failure is not a reflection of our abilities, but rather a test of our resolve. It's a reminder that we must continue to push forward, even when the odds seem insurmountable. As human beings, it's natural to fear failure. From a young age, we're conditioned to avoid mistakes. In school, we're taught that the goal is to get the right answers, not the wrong ones. Society often praises success and shames failure, creating a deep-rooted fear within us. But what is it that we truly fear? Is it the failure itself, or is it the judgment, the criticism, and the feelings of inadequacy that come with it? Often, it's not the act of failing that scares us, but the potential consequences, losing respect, disappointing others, or even disappointing ourselves. This fear can paralyze us, preventing us from taking the risks necessary for growth. When we allow the fear of failure to control us, we begin to play it safe. We avoid taking risks, we shy away from challenges, and we stick to what we know. While this might protect us from failure in the short term, it also limits our potential. By avoiding failure, we miss out on opportunities for growth, creativity, and innovation. Consider the countless ideas, inventions, and achievements that would never have come to fruition if their creators had given in to the fear of failure. If Thomas Edison had feared failure, we might still be living in the dark. If J.K. Rowling had feared rejection, the world would have missed out on the magical world of Harry Potter. Fear of failure can lead to a life of mediocrity. It can prevent us from reaching our full potential, from exploring our passions, and from truly living. To achieve greatness, we must be willing to take risks, even if it means facing the possibility of failure. So how do we confront this fear? It starts with a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing failure as something to be feared, we must begin to see it as a necessary part of the journey. Every time we fail, we gain valuable insights that bring us closer to success. One way to confront the fear of failure is to reframe the way we think about it. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask yourself, "What if I don't try?" What if the fear of failure holds you back from achieving your dreams? What if the opportunities you pass up today are the regrets you'll carry tomorrow? Another strategy is to start small. Take on challenges that push you out of your comfort zone, but that aren't overwhelming. As you experience small failures and learn to recover from them, you'll build the confidence to tackle larger challenges. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate the fear of failure but to manage it. Fear can be a powerful motivator if we learn to harness it. Let it push you to prepare better, to work harder, and to keep moving forward, even in the face of uncertainty. Failure is often the greatest teacher. It strips away the facade of perfection and forces us to confront our weaknesses. But in doing so, it also provides us with the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. Every failure contains a lesson, but it's up to us to extract it. Take the story of the invention of the light bulb. Thomas Edison famously conducted over 1,000 experiments before finally achieving success. Each failure taught him something new, something that brought him one step closer to his goal. Edison didn't see his failed experiments as wasted efforts, he saw them as necessary steps in the process of discovery. Failure teaches us resilience. It teaches us to adapt, to change our approach, and to try again. It shows us that the path to success is rarely a straight line, but a series of twists and turns that ultimately lead us to where we need to be. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. It's the quality that allows us to keep going when things get tough, to push through challenges, and to overcome setbacks. And it's a quality that is often developed through failure. When we experience failure, we have two choices: we can let it defeat us, or we can let it strengthen us. Those who choose the latter are the ones who develop resilience. They learn to see failure not as an end, but as a beginning, a chance to start over, to try again, and to come back stronger. Consider the story of Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Before he became a legend, Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Most people would have seen this as a sign that they weren't good enough, but not Jordan. He used that failure as motivation to work harder, to practice longer, and to prove his doubters wrong. That setback was the spark that ignited his incredible career. Failure can be the catalyst for greatness if we allow it to be. It can teach us the value of hard work, the importance of perseverance, and the power of belief in ourselves. It can build the resilience we need to face future challenges and to achieve our dreams. There's a concept known as failing forward, the idea that each failure brings us closer to success. When we fail forward, we don't let setbacks hold us back. Instead, we use them as stepping stones to move ahead. Failing forward requires a mindset shift. It means seeing failure not as a sign of defeat, but as a necessary part of the process. It means understanding that each failure provides valuable information: what doesn't work, what needs to be improved, and what changes need to be made. The key to failing forward is to keep moving. Don't dwell on your failures or let them discourage you. Instead, take what you've learned, make the necessary adjustments, and try again. Every failure brings you one step closer to success. One of the most famous examples of failing forward is the story of Walt Disney. Before creating the beloved Disney empire, Walt Disney faced numerous failures. He was fired from a newspaper job because his editor thought he lacked creativity, and he faced bankruptcy with his first animation company. But Disney didn't give up. He continued to pursue his passion for storytelling and animation, and eventually, his perseverance paid off. Today, his name is synonymous with imagination, creativity, and success. One of the most powerful tools in overcoming failure is the ability to reframe your mindset. How you perceive failure can have a profound impact on how you respond to it. If you see failure as a permanent setback, it will become a barrier. But if you see it as a temporary obstacle, it becomes something you can overcome. Reframing your mindset means changing the way you talk to yourself about failure. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "This didn't work out this time." Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," think, "What can I learn from this experience?" By changing your internal dialogue, you can change the way you perceive and respond to failure. Another aspect of reframing your mindset is to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Success is not always about achieving a specific goal, sometimes, it's about the growth and learning that occur along the way. By focusing on the effort, the learning, and the progress you're making, you can find value in the journey, even if the destination isn't exactly what you had hoped for. It's important to distinguish between setbacks and failures. A setback is a temporary obstacle, a bump in the road that slows you down but doesn't stop you. A failure, on the other hand, is only final if you choose to stop trying. When you encounter a setback, don't immediately label it as a failure. Take a step back and evaluate the situation. Is this a sign that you need to change your approach, or is it simply a challenge that you need to overcome? By understanding the difference between setbacks and failures, you can respond more effectively to challenges and keep moving forward. Setbacks are a natural part of any journey. They're not a reflection of your worth or your abilities, but simply a part of the process. Embrace them, learn from them, and use them to fuel your progress. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, dedication, and learning. This concept, popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, is key to overcoming failure. When you have a growth mindset, you see failure not as a reflection of your limitations, but as an opportunity to grow and improve. To develop a growth mindset, start by embracing challenges. Instead of avoiding difficult tasks for fear of failure, take them on as opportunities to learn and grow. View criticism as constructive feedback that can help you improve, rather than as a personal attack. Another aspect of a growth mindset is persistence. When faced with a challenge, those with a growth mindset don't give up easily. They keep trying, even when the going gets tough, because they believe that effort and perseverance will lead to success. By cultivating a growth mindset, you can change the way you respond to failure. Instead of seeing it as a sign that you're not good enough, you'll see it as a sign that you're on the path to growth and improvement. Persistence and grit are two of the most important qualities for overcoming failure. Grit, as defined by psychologist Angela Duckworth, is the passion and perseverance to achieve long-term goals. It's the determination to keep going, even when the road is tough and the odds are against you. Persistence, on the other hand, is the ability to keep pushing forward, even when progress seems slow or non-existent. It's the refusal to give up, no matter how many times you've been knocked down. When we look at the lives of successful people, one thing becomes clear: they didn't achieve success because they were the most talented or the most intelligent. They succeeded because they were the most persistent. They had the grit to keep going, even when they faced failure after failure. Consider the story of Colonel Harland Sanders, the founder of KFC. At the age of 65, after receiving his first Social Security check, he decided to start selling his fried chicken recipe. He faced rejections from over 1,000 restaurants before finally finding success. Most people would have given up after a few rejections, but not Sanders. His persistence and grit eventually led to the creation of one of the most popular fast food chains in the world. The lesson here is simple: don't give up. Even when it feels like you're making no progress, even when you've faced setback after setback, keep going. Success often comes to those who refuse to quit, who keep pushing forward no matter what obstacles they encounter. It's not about how many times you fail, it's about how many times you get back up and try again. One of the most important steps in overcoming failure is to analyze it objectively. When we fail, it's easy to let emotions take over, feelings of disappointment, frustration, or even shame. But to truly learn from failure, we need to take a step back and look at it from an objective standpoint. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? What external factors contributed to this outcome? By breaking down the failure into its components, you can identify the specific areas that need improvement. It's important to approach this analysis without self-blame. Failure is not an indictment of your worth or abilities. It's simply feedback, an indication that something needs to change. Use this feedback to make better decisions in the future. Once you've analyzed your failure, the next step is adaptation. This means being willing to change your approach, to try something different, and to learn from your mistakes. Adaptation is a key component of resilience and is essential for overcoming failure. Consider the story of Steve Jobs. After being ousted from Apple, the company he co-founded, Jobs didn't give up. Instead, he adapted. He founded a new company, Next, and later acquired Pixar, which went on to revolutionize the animation industry. Eventually, Jobs returned to Apple, bringing with him the lessons he had learned from his failures. His ability to adapt and evolve played a crucial role in his eventual success. Adaptation requires flexibility and an open mind. It means being willing to let go of old strategies that aren't working and embracing new ones. It means being open to learning and growth, even when it requires stepping out of your comfort zone. The Japanese concept of Kaizen, which means continuous improvement, is a powerful tool for overcoming failure. Kaizen emphasizes the idea that small, incremental changes can lead to significant improvements over time. Instead of striving for perfection all at once, focus on making small, consistent improvements every day. When you adopt the Kaizen approach, failure becomes less daunting. Instead of seeing it as a major setback, you see it as an opportunity to make a small change, to improve just a little bit, and to move forward. Over time, these small changes add up, leading to significant progress. The Kaizen approach can be applied to all areas of life, whether it's your career, your relationships, or your personal development. By focusing on continuous improvement, you can overcome failure and achieve long-term success. History is full of individuals who faced repeated failures before achieving greatness. These stories remind us that failure is not the end, but often the beginning of something extraordinary. Take the story of Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in history. As a child, Einstein struggled with speech and was considered slow by his teachers. He failed his first entrance exam to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology and faced numerous setbacks in his early career. Yet, despite these failures, Einstein went on to revolutionize the field of physics and change the way we understand the universe. Or consider the story of Henry Ford. Before founding the Ford Motor Company, Ford faced several business failures. His first two automotive companies went bankrupt, and he was left with nothing. But Ford didn't let these failures stop him. He learned from his mistakes, adapted his approach, and eventually introduced the Model T, which transformed the automotive industry and made him a household name. These stories teach us that failure is not a reflection of our potential. It's a necessary part of the journey to success. By learning from their failures, these individuals were able to achieve greatness and leave a lasting legacy. In today's world, we continue to see examples of individuals who have overcome failure to achieve success. Consider the story of Oprah Winfrey. Before becoming one of the most influential women in the world, Oprah faced numerous challenges and setbacks. She was fired from her first television job and faced rejection in her early career. But Oprah didn't give up. She used her failures as fuel to keep going, and eventually, she became a media mogul and a symbol of perseverance. Another contemporary example is Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. Musk has faced numerous failures throughout his career, from the early struggles of his first company, Zip2, to the near collapse of Tesla and SpaceX. Despite these challenges, Musk has continued to push forward, driven by a vision of a better future. His ability to learn from failure, adapt, and persist has led to groundbreaking achievements in technology and space exploration. These contemporary examples remind us that failure is not a roadblock, but a stepping stone on the path to success. By embracing failure and learning from it, we can achieve our dreams and make a difference in the world. We all have our own stories of failure, times when things didn't go as planned, when we faced setbacks or challenges that seemed insurmountable. These personal stories are just as powerful as the stories of historical and contemporary figures. They remind us that failure is a universal experience, one that we all share. Think about a time in your life when you faced failure. How did you respond? What did you learn from the experience? How did it shape who you are today? These reflections are important, as they help us to see the value of failure in our own lives. Sharing your personal stories of failure can also be a source of inspiration for others. When we open up about our struggles, we show others that they're not alone, that failure is a natural part of the journey, and that it's possible to overcome it. As we come to the end of this speech, let's take a moment to recap the key messages. Failure is an inevitable part of life, but it's not something to be feared. It's a necessary step on the path to success, a teacher that provides valuable lessons, and a catalyst for growth and improvement. We've talked about the fear of failure and how it can hold us back. We've discussed the importance of embracing failure as a learning opportunity, of building resilience, and of developing a growth mindset. We've explored strategies for overcoming failure, including analyzing failures objectively, adapting our approach, and focusing on continuous improvement. We've also looked at inspirational stories of individuals who overcame failure to achieve greatness, reminding us that failure is not the end, but the beginning of something extraordinary. So, what can you do with this knowledge? I encourage you to take risks, to step out of your comfort zone, and to embrace the possibility of failure. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back from pursuing your dreams. Instead, see failure as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. Remember, it's not about how many times you fail, but about how many times you get back up. Each failure brings you one step closer to success. So, keep pushing forward, keep trying, and keep believing in yourself. Let me leave you with this final thought. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of the journey. Every failure is a stepping stone that brings you closer to your goals. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it to fuel your success. As Winston Churchill once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. So, have the courage to continue, no matter what challenges you face, and remember that each failure is a step closer to the success that awaits you. Thank you.